Hello world, welcome back to DCodeMania. I am Sahil, and in today's video I am going to show you how to build a complete user roles and permissions system using Laravel 12, React with Inertia, and Spatie Roles and Permission package. We are going to make everything dynamic. That means you will be able to create users, assign them roles like admin or editor, and control what they can do using permission. To save time, I will be using the Laravel React Starter Kit, which gives us a clean setup to work with React and Inertia out of the box. So before we jump into coding, let's first take a quick look at the demo of what we are going to build today. Okay. So this is the complete application where you can see this is the React Starter Kit dashboard. And in the left side, you can see the sidebar where you can see all the links like dashboard, users, permissions, roles. Okay, so first I will go to permissions, and here you can see there is a table with a button add new, and you can also see the pagination at the bottom. Okay, now first I will create a test permission to show you the working of all the features. Okay, so first I will click on this add new button. Now on click of add new button, you can see a new dialog box will appear, okay, with a field permission name. Now if I click on submit without filling any value in this field, then you can see the field is validating. Okay, now let's write test permissions and click on submit. So the permission has been created, and here you can see a toast at the bottom right corner. Okay, and this is the permission you can see at the top of the table. Now you can modify the permission just by clicking this edit button. So let's click this edit button. Now here you can see a new dialog with the previous value in this field permission name. Now let me remove this permission and only keep test. And if I click on update, then you can see the name of the permission has been updated with a toast in the bottom right corner. You can also delete any permission just by clicking this delete button. So you can see the permission has been deleted. Okay, so all the CRUD functionalities are here. Okay, now similarly, if you go to roles, then here you can see a table, a button, and the pagination with 2 action button. Now let me create a new role. So currently I have logged in with super admin. So super admin have all the permissions. That's why I can manage all the modules like users, permission, and roles. Now let me create a new role, subscriber, and only give the permission to view any users and view dashboard. Okay, and click on create. So you can see the subscriber role is created with the given permission. Okay, now let's go to, you can also modify any roles by just clicking the edit button. You can see the previous values and the previous checked permission. Okay, you can make modification and click on update to modify the role. Okay, but for now I'm going to users module, and here I will create a new user with the role subscriber. Okay, and let's see what happens. So click on add new. Now this is create user page where there are some fields like name, email, password, and select roles. Here you can see all the roles listed here with a checkbox. So in name I will write subscriber, and in email I will write subscriber at the rate example.com, and in password I will write password, and in select role I can select multiple role as well, but for now I will select only subscriber and click on create. You can see user created successfully, and here is the user at the top of the table. You can modify the user as well. Okay, and you can delete the user if you want, but now I'm going to log in with this user. Okay, subscriber user. So let me log out from here and go to login, paste the email ID here, and in password a minute. Let me reload again. Subscriber, and in password I will write password and click on login. Now here you can see the subscriber user only can access dashboard and users. Okay, and in users also he can only see all the users. He cannot make any modification or delete any users. So in actions column you can see the delete and edit button are now hidden. Okay, similarly the roles and permissions links are not showing in the sidebar. Okay, now what if users want to access the roles or permissions pages from the URL? Let me show you. So this is the URL. Now if I write here roles, which is not roles, so by using this link user can see all the roles. Okay, but for this user I have not granted the view any roles permission. So if I hit enter, then you can see this message, this action is unauthorized. Okay, so the authorization is implemented on both side on the front end and in the back end. Okay, so you will see all these in the further videos. Okay, further video. Now this is what we will build today in this video. So let's start by installing a fresh Laravel application with React Starter Kit. Okay, so let me close this one and let me close my VS Code editor from here. Minimize this browser and go to, this is my projects directory where I will create all the projects. So here I will open the terminal and here I will write Laravel new, and here I will write Laravel Lara and roles permissions. Okay, so I will keep this name as my project name. You can name it anything, whatever you like, and hit enter. Now it will ask some question like which starter kit would you like to install. So I will go with React. So here I'll write React and then press enter. Now it is asking which authentication provider do you prefer. So I will go with Laravel built-in authentication. So I will hit enter, and it is asking which testing framework do you prefer. So I will go with PHP unit. Now it is downloading the Laravel framework, so it will take few seconds, so just wait. Okay, so it is asking would you like to run npm install and npm run build. Yes, so I want, so just press enter. Now it will download all the npm packages and it will compile for the production. Okay, so let's wait. Okay, so the project setup and installation has been completed. Let me close this terminal, and now this is our project Lara -roles -permissions. Now I will open inside my VS Code. So this is the project inside VS Code. Let me close this, and then first this is our project. Now first open this editor config. Now here I will keep the indent size 2 and I will use indent style tab. Okay, save this file, close it. Now next what I will do is I will open the inbuilt terminal of VS Code, and here I will write composer run dev to run the development server. Okay, so let's wait until it runs. Okay, open the browser, and here let's open a new tab and open localhost colon 8000. Okay, so it's taking some time. Okay, so this is the welcome page of Laravel 12. Okay, and this is a React Starter Kit. That's why here you can see the login and registration page. Okay, and let me go to sign up and sign up with a super admin account first. Okay, so here I will write super admin, and in email ID I will write super admin @example.com, and in password I will write password, confirm password, and click on create account. Now this is the dashboard of React Starter Kit, and in the left side you can see the sidebar with some links. Okay, and this is the main dashboard. Okay, so next what I will do is I will go to the project and split the terminal into two parts, and here what I will do is I will first use git init, and then I will use git add all files, and then git commit. So this will be our first commit, so here I will write first commit. Okay, and then clear the terminal. Now first what I will do is I will close this terminal and go to resources and views. Okay, sorry, go to JS and then expand this components and open this app hyphen sidebar. Okay, now here you can see these two links, repository and documentation. We do not require this, so let me just comment this one, and here I will add one first. So I will add one for the permission. So first we will work on permission module. Okay, so here I will use title is equal to permissions, and in href I will use permissions slash permissions, and in icon I will use lock from the Lucid React, which is already installed with React Starter Kit. Okay, now if we save this file and reload here, so it's reloading. Okay, let me come back here. Now close this app hyphen sidebar.tsx file, and next what I will do is I will install Spatie Roles and Permission package. Okay, now here you can see this is the permission. Okay, so before going to work on this permission module, first let's open a new tab and here search for Spatie roles and permissions in Google, and open this first link. Okay, now this is the official package of Spatie, which is Laravel permission. Now I will install in my app, so just click on installation in Laravel and just copy this command, composer requires Spatie Laravel permission. Open your project, open terminal and paste the command here. Now hit enter. Now it will download the package into this project, so let's wait. Okay, so the package has been installed successfully into this project. Now next what I will do is I will publish the migration and config file of role and permission, Spatie role and permission. So just paste the command here and hit enter. Now you can see there are two new files created in config directory, this permission.php, and in database there is a new migration file created, this one. Okay, now next what I will do is I will go here and just use PHP artisan optimize clear to remove all the cache. Okay, now next just use PHP artisan migrate. So just copy this command. So one migration has been executed successfully. Now next, we need to use this trait into the user model. So just copy the trait name and let me close this terminal, open user model. So this is our user model inside app directory, then models directory. Then this is the user.php file. Here we need to just use has roles, okay, and import this class, okay, like this. Save this file and close. Now next what I will do is, okay, so the configuration and setup for this Laravel Spatie role and permission package has been completed. So here I will use git add, and here I will make a commit. So git commit am and Spatie roles permissions package installed and set up, completed. Okay, clear. Now first, in order to work with the permission module, first we require a controller. Okay, so here I will write php artisan make a controller, and here I will write permission controller. Okay, permission controller. Just create this controller and close this file, sorry, close this terminal, and the controller is created inside this app http controllers and this permission controller.php file. Okay, next just open the web.php file. This is our route, all the routes were defined. Okay, so this file is located inside routes web.php file. Now you can see this is for the welcome page, this route is for the welcome page, and this route is for the dashboard page, which is inside the route group with middleware auth and verified. So we will define all our routes inside this middleware group. Okay, so first I will define for route get method, and here I will write permissions, and then here I will write permission controller class, and then index method. I will also give it a name permissions dot index. Okay, make sure to import this permission controller here like this. Okay, now save this. Now let me first create a new view file for this page. Okay, so just go to resources js, and inside pages we have to create a new folder with name permissions, and inside this permissions I will create a new file index.tsx. okay, and I will go to dashboard here and copy all the codes from here and paste inside index.tsx. okay, now I will remove some codes here. So remove this div and also remove this div. Here I will just use h1 permission page. Okay, and just change the title to permissions, and also in this breadcrumb just write permissions, and in href just write permissions. Just use p small letter. Save this file and go to permission controller.php file. Here we will have to define the index method. So here I'll write index method and public function index. Here we'll use return inertia render, and here we will use permissions index. Okay, now save this file, go to the browser, and let me close this one. Let me go to the browser project, reload this page and click on permission. Now here you can see the header permission page. Okay, so up to here. Now next what I will do is I will start designing this permission page. So go to index.tsx and just remove this header. Okay, and first here I will use card component. Card component comes from the ShadCN UI library, okay, which is already installed with the React Starter Kit. Okay, now next I will use card header, and inside card header I will use card title, and in card title I will write permissions management. Next I will use card action. Okay, so card action is not available here, so I will go to the browser and open a new tab here, and then here search for the ShadCN and open the ShadCN official website, and then search for the card here, and I will use this npm command, npx ShadCN @latest add card. So let's copy this command and open the terminal, paste the command, hit enter. Now it will download the all card components from the ShadCN library. Okay, so let's wait. Okay, so press enter here. Okay, so the card component has been downloaded, and let me close this file, sorry, this terminal, and here I will use card action, card actions, actually card action, I think it is not installed properly. Let me open the terminal again, and I think we have to just write y here, then the new card component will be replaced or overwrite with the existing one. So let me copy the command again and paste, hit enter. Wait for a few seconds. Okay, so this time here we need to just use y. Okay, now the new card component overwrite. Let me close this terminal. Now let's just write card action. Okay, so this time we found card action. Then here we will use button component from this one, and here just write add new permission, or you can just write add new, and in button I will use variant is equal to default. Okay, now if you save this and go to the browser, open the project, so you can see the title permission management here, and this is the button. Let me give some class, tailwind class, to this card header, that is flex items center justify between. Okay, save this and go to the browser, reload. So you can see the alignment of this header and button is now looking perfect. Now next, just below this card header I will use HR. Okay, now just below this HR I will use card content. Okay, so just use card content here. Now inside this card content we will use table component. Okay, so table component by default not comes with React Starter Kit, so we need to install table. So let's go to the ShadCN documentation, search for table here. Okay, so from here we will use this command. So just copy this command and open the terminal, paste the command here and hit enter to download the table component into this project. Okay, so table component has been added. Let's close this terminal. Now here I will use table from component UI table. Okay, and next we will use table header. Okay, so just use table header from this, and inside this I will use table row, and then table head. So first we will display the ID, then display the name, permission name, then display the created act, and then display the actions. Okay, now we will give some we will give some classes to this header, table header. So here I will use class name is equal to bg slate 500, sorry, 500, and dark bg slate 700. Okay, that's it. Now in all the table head I will give some tailwind css classes. Okay, so I will select all the table head component, and here I will use class name, and I will use bold font bold and text white. Save this, go to the browser, open the project. So here you can see id, name, created ad, and action. Okay, now let me just go below this table header. So here we will use table body. Okay, now inside this table body we will use table row, and now inside this table row we will use table cell component. Now here for the id we will use static one. For the name I will use view dashboard, and for created at we will use today's date, so 26/7/2025. And for action I will design two buttons here. Okay, so for first button I will use button, and here I will use edit. Now I will use variant outline, and size will be sm, and for now let's duplicate this one, and here just use delete, and instead of outline here I will use destruct. Okay, save this and go to the browser. Now here you can see one view dashboard and created at, and there are two buttons. What I will do here is I will give this button a class name margin left 2. Okay, margin left 2. Save this, go to the browser. So you can see there is some space between these two buttons. Now we will also use some class to this table row, class name, and here we will use odd bg slate 100, and dark odd bg slate 800. Okay, save this, go to the browser. So this is our table. Now if we just duplicate this table row, then you can see the second record. Okay, so we will make this dynamic later. Now first let's work on this add new permission. Okay, so when we click on this add new, then we will display a dialog. Okay, so first we will design the dialog. So for designing, what we will do is we will go to the ShadCN, search for the dialog here, dialog. Now here you can see if we click on open dialog, then you can see this dialog. So let's go to codes and copy all the codes of this dialog. Let's copy and go to here. I will write a comment first, add new permission a model, or we can write dialog start, and here just write end, and in between these two comments I'll paste the dialog code, and let's import all the component. So import, actually we do not require this dialog trigger. We will open this dialog from this button, actually this button, add new button. Okay, so just remove this trigger from here and just import this one, and this one. We also not required this dialog description, so just remove this one. here in dialog title we will use add new permission, and then we will import this label. Okay, so import from this component UI label and this input. So just import this one. Actually remove this second input field and just import this one. Just import this close, and also I will use a HR tag here. Okay, and I will move the form here up to here. Okay, now just change the label name HTML for name, and here just write permission name, and I will not use default value here, so just remove this one. In ID just use name, and here I will use type is equal to text for now. Okay, and here in just remove this save changes, just give it a span, and here just write create. Okay, now to open this dialog box, what we will do is just go above here, and here just define a state, open add new, open add permission, open add permission dialog, and then set open add permission dialog, and then use state, and by default give it a value false. Okay, now next what I will do is I will go to the dialog box, and here I will use open, and here in open I will use open add permission dialog. Okay, open add permission dialog, and also on open change I will use set open add permission dialog. Okay, and also if you go to this button, add new button, then here I will use on click event, and then here what I will do is I will use this one, and here I will use set open add permission dialog, and here I will make this true. Save this, go to the browser, and let me reload this page, click on add new, so you can see this is the dialog box. Okay, if we click cancel, then the dialog box will be hidden. Now if we click again add new button, then the pop-up will appear. Let's give some space between these field and these buttons. So for this, let's come here and let's go to the dialog box, and here in dialog footer what I will do is I will use class name margin top to 4. Okay, margin top 4. Now if I click, then you can see the create and cancel button. So now this looks good. Next what I will do is to make this dynamic, we need to first go here. Actually, let's open the web.php file. Here we will define a route for the post method. Okay, so just use route post and same permissions, and then same controller permission controller class, and then here I will use store method, and the name of this route will be permissions dot store. Okay, now let's go to the index.tsx files, and here what I will do is I will use const, and I will use const data set data post processing errors reset, okay, from the use form hook of inertia.js. Okay, use form, let's just import it from inertia react like this, use form, and by default I will give the value of name. I will initialize the value of name to empty. Okay, now next let's go to the dialog box, and this is the input field. Here we will use some uh, props like value is equal to data dot name, and here we will use on change e. Then here we will use set data name, and then we will use the value e dot target dot value. Okay, for the validation we will use area invalid. Area invalid is equal to double exclamation mark and errors dot name. To display the invalid feedback, we need to use input error component, and here we will use message prop, and we will display the dynamic message here. So for dynamic message we'll use errors dot name. Okay, now in the form tag we will use submit handler. So here we will use on submit event, we will use submit method. Okay, now we need to define this method, so just copy and go here, just use function submit e, and then here we will use react dot form event angle bracket html form element. Okay, and here just use e dot prevent default, and then post permissions route, and then here just use on success arrow function, and here we'll use reset only one field, that is name, so just name here. Okay, all done. Now this processing is left, so just go to this button. Okay, so here I will use disabled while processing, so just use processing. Okay, we will also display some loader while processing, so here just write processing, and here just use loader 2 and give some class spin animate spin. Okay, save this. Now go to the browser, reload this whole page, click on add new and click on create. So right now there is no store method defined in permission controller, so we need to define this store method. Okay, so for this what we will do is just go to the controller here, and let me just write store method comment and public function store request, and then here what I will do is I will use permission model from Spatie permission model. Okay, so you need to import this class like here. Okay, and here what I will do is I will use create method, and then we will validate inside the create method. So here I will use request validate, then here there is only one field name, so here I will use required required, and next string, this would be string max 255, and next unique. So all the permissions would be unique. So in tables permissions and column name, just remove except and id. Okay, next I will use return to route, so we'll be redirect to the same page. So here we will use permissions dot index, permission dot index, and I will send a flash message. So here I will use with message permission created successfully. Okay, save this. Now let's go to the index.tsx files. So I will display a toast message in the index.tsx file whenever this any flash message set from the server. Okay, so for this what I will do is we will have to go to app directory, then controllers, sorry, then http, then go to middleware, and then open this handle inertia request.php. Now here what I will do is I will add one more array here, like flash, and then inside this I will use message sort function, and then request session get message. Okay, save this one. Now to get this flash message in tsx files, what we need is just go to index.tsx files, and here let me define a const flash is equal to use page hook from the inertia react. Okay, so just import this use page hook from the inertia react, and then I will use angle bracket, then this curly bracket, then I will use flash, then I will define the type of this flash. So inside this I will use message, and message is a type of string, so just write string here, and then okay, just use this dot props like this. Okay, and then we will also use effect. Okay, so just use effect here like this, and then use arrow function, just here use flash dot message, and inside this use effect we will check if flash dot message, if there is any flash dot message set from the server, then here we will use okay, so here we will use toast. Actually first we need to install the sonar component from the ShadCN documentation. So just go to ShadCN, search for sonar. Okay, so when we click on show toast, then you can see the toast message is showing here. Okay, so to download this, first we need to go here and copy this command. Now open the terminal, paste the command, hit enter to download the sonar component. Okay, so sonar component is installing. Now it is installed. Close this terminal. Now to set up this, first we need to use this component in the main layout file. Okay, so just go to the resources directory, JS directory, then this layouts directory, then open this app-layout.tsx, and here I will use TOAS toaster from the component UI sonar. Okay, and here I will use rich color prop and close this one. Now all set. We have to use toast from the sonar, toast dot success. So we will display the success message. So here just write flash dot message. Okay, all set. Save this. Now go to the browser and open the project. Go to permission, reload, hard reload, go to add new. If I click on create, then the form is validating properly. The name field is required. If we just write any number value here, then click on create, then you can see the permission created successfully. It means let me go to the database.sqlite file, and if I go to permissions, then here you can see this is the permission created here. Okay, so let me close this one and come here back. So validation is working, and permission like view dashboard, and click on create. So you can see the permission is created, but this dialog box is not hiding automatically. So to hide this dialog box when a permission is created, we need to go here in the use effect, and here I will use set open add permission dialog is equal to false. Okay, now if we hard reload this page and click on add new, now here I will write view any permissions and click on create. So you can see the model is hidden, and this is the toast message, permission created successfully. Okay, and now let's make this table dynamic. Okay, so this add new permission is working fine. Now we have to work on this table. Okay, so for this what I will do is I will go to the controller, and here I will just declare a variable permissions is equal to permission model, and then I will use latest latest, then paginate is equal to 5, and then here we will use permission get collection, and then transform function, and in function I will use single permission, and then here I will use return an array. Now here in ID I will use permission arrow ID, name is equal to permission is equal to name. And why here I am doing this? So here I am doing this to format the created at date. Otherwise, if you don't want to format, then you can just pass this permission here in the array. So if you don't want to format, so just for formatting purpose I am using this get collection transform. Okay, So created underscore at is equal to permission created underscore at, and then I will use format, and I will format into string dm y, actually y capital. Okay, and next what I will do is just close this here also. Now if we just dd permissions to array, then let's see what happens. So when we dd, then you can see in data we have all the three permission with the id, name, and the date which is formatted. Okay, and all the pagination properties like current page, first page, from, then links. So there are three links here. Okay, previous, page one, and the next. Okay, similarly next page url, path, previous page, per page, previous page url, to, and total. So we will also design the pagination component and use these pagination properties uh, to render a real pagination there. Okay, so for now let's remove this one, and here we'll pass this here like permissions is equal to permissions. Okay, now next what I will do is I will go to index.tsx file, and here actually we also need to change the name to permissions, and here in the props I will use permissions. Okay, now this is showing some warning that permission is declared, but its value is never used read, and here also that permission binding element permissions implicitly has an any type. So first we will define its types. Okay, permission types, because we are using TypeScript, so we need to define all the types. Okay, so for defining the types we will go to the resources directory, js directory, then here you can see already a types folder is created by default. So inside this what we will do is we will create a new file that will be role. We will define role and permission both types here in a single file. So here I will write role and underscore permission, role permission dot d dot ts. Okay, now here first I will use interface, and here I will use single permission. Okay, so single permission have the id, which is a type of number, and name is a type of a string, and created at is a type of string. Okay, now we will define permission, but before permission we also need to define the actually paginations. Okay, so for pagination I will create a new type, pagination dot d dot ts. Okay, and for pagination I will declare interface links. We will use these links. Okay, these links, you can see this array. Okay, so we'll use these links here. So this links contains every child element contains url label and active. Okay, So here we will use URL, which is a type of a string, and this can also be null and also undefined. So just use undefined here. And label, for label it will be a type of string, and then active is a type of boolean, so just use boolean. Now again here we will use export interface pagination. So we will also use more parameters like from, to, and total, because here you can check we have this total, this from and to. So we will use these three parameters here. So first we will use links, and we will use above links, which is a type of array, which is already defined here. Okay, and next I will use from is a number, so just use number, and then I'll use 2, which is also a number, and then total is also a number. Okay, now next go to the role hyphen permission, sorry, role underscore permission dot d dot ts file, and here what I will do is I will just use export interface permission, export interface permission extends pagination. So whatever we just created in pagination, we are just extending this pagination into this permission, because when we are sending data from the server, then we are also sending data in data, and also sending all the pagination properties. That's why here we will extend all the pagination properties into this permission. Okay, and then we will use data and then single permission array. Okay, so our type for permission has been created. Now go to index.tsx file, and here just use permissions and then in permissions what we need to do is just use permission type. Okay, which will come from this types /types/ role underscore permission. Okay, so just use this. Okay, now next what I will do is I will just go to the table body, and this is the table row. Okay, so we will use here for each method. Okay, so how to use, okay, so just cut this table row from here, and actually remove one table row, only keep one, and now cut this. Now here we will use permissions dot data dot map. Okay, map, and then here we will use permission and then index, and then we'll use this one and paste all the codes here. Now next here, instead of id, here I will display index +1, and in name I will use permission dot name, and in created at I will use permission dot created underscore at. Okay, and I think let me save this and go to the browser and reload. Okay, so you can see all the permissions from the database is now displaying here, like view any permissions, view dashboard, and this one is for the testing purpose. Okay, so now uh, we will also display the pagination at the bottom. So for this, what we will do is, first we will work on edit and delete, then at last we will work on the pagination. Okay, so let's work on edit permission. Okay, so for edit permission here, in the edit button, we will use on click. Okay, so here I will use on click, and then we will use a function edit and then permission. Here we will pass the permission. Okay, now we need to define the permission, edit method. So to define the edit method, what I will do is I will just go to the top, and here I will define function edit, and here I will use permission parameter, and here we will define the type, that is single permission. So here we are tackling only single permission, so here we will use single permission from the type role underscore permission. Okay, and then inside this, what I will do is we will use set data name to, here we will get the permission dot name. Okay, and we will use set data, we will also use id here. Okay, so just use id, and id will be 0 by default. Okay, so actually define it just above the name. By default I will keep 0, and okay, just use comma, and set data id, and we will get the id from permission dot id, and we'll also open the model, edit model. So for that, what I will do is I will go here, and I will copy the same model dialog box code, and here I will write a comment first, edit permission dialog start and end. Now in between these two comments I will paste these two. Now here I will write edit permission, and here instead of on submit I will use update, and here the permission name, and all will be same. Instead of create I will just use update. Okay, and we will also change this open add permission dialog. Okay, so let me first create a state. So just use const open edit permission dialog and set open edit permission dialog is equal to use state, and by default we'll make this false. Okay, and we will use this one here instead of this, and we will also use edit here. Now next what I will do is I will go here in the edit, and we will also open the, on click of edit button we will set the name and id, the previous values, and we will also set open edit permission dialog to true. Okay, now if we go to the browser and reload, then nothing is showing because of this error update method. Okay, So for now, let's remove this one. There is no error. Now let's reload and click on edit. So you can see we are getting view any permission. Now if we click on this, then we are getting view dashboard. For clicking on this, then we are getting the permission name here. Okay, so it's working now. Next, we when we click on this update, then we should also update into the database. So for that, what we need to do is just come here and let's define this update method. Okay, so let me go above and just use function update and react dot form event angle bracket html form element. Okay, now next we will first use dot prevent default and then we will use put instead of post. So here we will also use put. Okay, and then put. So we need to define a route for that first. So just go to web.php and here I will use route and we will use put and permissions and slash. Here is the permission and permission controller dot class update method and then the name will be permissions dot update. Okay, now let's go to this update method. Okay, so just copy and go to the permission controller. Now here first I will write update method public function update. Now in update I will write in update I will write request and also permission route model binding. So here I will write permission model and permission. Okay, now here what I will do is just use permission update and here I will use request validate. I will also validate the field. Okay, and I will only validate the name field. So here just write name and required string and max 255 and here also unique in table permission and column name and we will also use except id. So here just use concatenation permission. Okay, actually remove this one. Okay, this one just use pipe symbol here, string pipe symbol here, pipe symbol and pipe symbol and here just use name and then dot permission id. Okay, and next just use return to route permission index with a flash message and sorry, message permission updated successfully. That's it. Just go to index.tsx file and input. I will use put. Actually here I will use backtick and then permission slash and then dollar data.id. We'll use data.id here. Okay, that's it. Save. Now let's come here and reload the page. Now let's try to update this one. So here instead of this I will use test permission and click on update. So you can see the permission updated successfully, and here also the test permission name has been changed. But when I just update anything here, then update action is working properly, but this dialog box is not hiding. So to hide this dialog box, what we will do is just go to here and use set open edit permission dialog false. That's it. And now if I just reload, and now let's make this test permission and click on update. So you can see this is the toast and this is now updated. Okay, so this is also working fine. Now next we will work on this delete functionality. So just go to the table and here I will just use on click and then on click, and here I will use delete and then I'll pass the permission dot id. Just pass the permission dot id here inside the delete method. Okay, actually let me check delete permission, delete permission. Okay, now we need to define this method delete permission. So just here I will use function delete permission and here I will get the id. Okay, and it's a type of number, so just use number here, and we will use destroy method. So here we need to destroy. Actually here we will use delete and then we will use destroy, delete and destroy. Now we will use this destroy method here, destroy, and here we will just use this one and permissions slash data. Actually just pass id here because we are getting id directly from the parameter. Okay, so just use this delete. Okay, now next we need to define this route first in the web.php file. So just here just write route delete permission slash permission and controller, sorry, permission controller class, and here destroy, and in name just write permissions dot destroy. Now we need to define this function into the controller. So just go to controller, and here what I will do is I will just define a new method, destroy method, and just write public function destroy, and just write permission model here, and then permission for route model binding. Now here we will just use permission delete, and we will use return to route permissions dot index with message permission deleted successfully. Save this and go to the browser, reload. Okay, now if I just click delete, then you can see permission deleted successfully and also the permission deleted from the table. Okay, so all working. Now let's work on the pagination. Okay, so for pagination, what I will do is I will go to the I will create a new pagination component first. Okay, so to create a new pagination component, we need to go to resources JS, and inside components I will create a new component file that will be named table pagination.tsx, table pagination.tsx, and here I will use export default function table pagination, and here we will accept some some props like links total to from, and we will use pagination types here. Okay, from the types pagination, and then inside this what I will do is I will use return, and we will design the pagination here. Okay, so in return I will use a div with class name flex call item center justify between, and gap for border top bg white px8 padding top 5 sm flex row and then dark bg gray 800. Okay, now next inside this div I will create another div with some tailwind css class names like flex items center justify between. Okay, now inside this div I will create a span, and inside this span I will write showing from to of total results. Okay, now in this span tag I will give some tailwind class text sm text muted foreground. Okay, save this, and let me first go to the index.tsx file, and here to display the pagination, what I will do is just after the card content, I will first check permissions dot data dot length is greater than 0, then only display the pagination. So here what I will do is I will use table pagination component, and here we need to pass all the props, but before let me just use this one, and here I will use a div, and we can just write no results found. Okay, and let's give some classes to this div, that is flex, heightful, items center, justify center. Okay, and in table pagination we will pass all the props like total. So total we will get from the permissions dot total, and from permissions dot from also 2 is equal to permissions dot 2, one more links permissions dot links. So all props are now passed here. Now if we come here, then you can see only there are 2 records here. So here showing 1 of 2 of total 2 results. Okay, now here we need to display the pagination. So for pagination, what I will do is I will go to the table hyphen pagination, and next what I will do is just after this div I will create another div with class name flex, items center, space x 2, and then here I will use links dot map, and then I will use link and index. Okay, and then I will use link dot URL is not is equal to null. So in this case, what I will do is I will use okay, so here we will use link from the inertia React. Okay, and in href I will pass link dot URL. Okay, otherwise we will pass this hash, and we will also pass this key is equal to index. Okay, and key is equal to index. Key is equal to index. Actually, just wrap it here and remove this one from here. Link. Now just inside this link we will use button from UI button. Okay, so button, and in button I will use variant is equal to outline. I will also use class names is equal to So in class names, I will pass link.active. If link is active, then we will set bg blue 500 and text white. Otherwise we will keep nothing. Size will be SM and disabled if there is no link in the URL. Okay, so here we will use opposite of link dot URL, and then we will use dangerously set inner HTML, and here we will use double underscore HTML and link dot label. Okay, and also we need to use this here. Now here we will use another button and here we will use key index variant outline size is equal to SM, and we'll make this disabled and dangerously set HTML inner HTML, and here we will use HTML, and then here we will set link dot label. Okay, save. Now let's come here. Now here you can see the pagination is showing. So there are next and previous button which is disabled because there is no link available in next and previous because there are only two results. If you go to permissions controller, then here we are sending 5 results at a time. So let me create some permission from here. So let me delete all, and here you can see no results found. Now let me first create view dashboard permission. Okay, now let me create view any permissions. So you can see the view any permissions is now created. Now let me create one more view permission. Now let me create view permission create permissions. Now edit, let me just write update permissions, delete permissions. Okay, so here you can see the 5 records is showing here, and the second page is showing, and this second is active and next button is active. So if we click on next, then this next is disabled because there is no more page left. We can come back to previous, and we can also go to a specific page by clicking the number buttons. Okay, so like this we can create permissions. Okay, now let's start working for the roles modules. So similarly we will also create CRUD functionality of roles. Okay, so for this what we will do is, let's open the project first and close all the files. First I will make a git commit. So here I will write git add all git commit, and here I will write permissions module completed. Okay, and then let's clear the terminal. Now next, first what I will do is I will just go to resources, JS components, and then open this app hyphen sidebar. First, I will create a new link in the sidebar with roles, and the href will be roles, and lock keyhole. Just use lock keyhole from the Lucid React. And let me go here, and you can see this is the roles. Okay, now similarly, let me go to web.php file. So this is the permissions routes. Now below here we will create roles routes. So first I will use a route. So before defining routes here, first we will require a new controller for this. So just write php artisan in the terminal, make controller. Now this time I will make it role controller, and this will be a resource controller. So just use -r. Okay, and close this terminal. Now just go to app directory, http directory, controls directory, and this roles directory. Then here you can see this is a resource controller. That means every function which is required, like index, create, a store, so edit and update, are now comes with the predefined. Okay, but empty, all methods are empty, just the name and function definition are written here. Okay, so next what I will do is just define a route here. So before defining route, let me go to resources, JS, pages, and let me create a new directory, roles. Now inside roles I will create a new file first, that is index.tsx. okay, and let's go to the dashboard, or better just go to the permissions and copy all the codes and paste here. Now here we do not need this dialog box, so just remove. Okay, we required this pagination, so just keep it for now. And let me remove this put from here, and think also remove this 2 from here, and remove these 2 states. Just use roles here instead of. And next what I will do is okay, here just change these 2 roles, and here also roles. Here just change roles. Okay, but here we need to define a type for this role. Okay, so we'll define the let me close this index.php tsx file, and to define the type we will go to this types directory, then open this role -permission.d.ts file, and here similarly we'll define the single role. Okay, so just use interface single role, and single role will contain id, which will be a type of number, and it will contain name, which is a type of a string, and it will also contain created at, which will be a type of a string, and this will also contains permissions. Okay, so all permissions. permissions, and it will be a type of string in array. Okay, then we will also use export interface role extends pagination, because we will also use pagination in role, so that why here we need to extend pagination. Now data single role, which is a type of array, will be defined here. Now we will use this role here, just use role, and this will come from this type underscore role underscore permission. Okay, and this will be same. Actually, I will not use submit, edit, and update function here. We'll use update function here, but instead of delete, we will use delete role. Okay, and here we will write roles, and actually we will not use this here, so just remove. Also remove this from here. Okay, and let's remove this on click from here, and instead here just write roles. Also change roles management. Let's keep add new, but instead of add new button, I will make this a link. Okay, so just use link, which will comes from Inertia React, and paste the button inside this. Now in link I will use href, and here I will use roles slash create. Okay, roles slash create, and then in table I will keep the ID name created at, but one more will be permissions created at actions. Now here instead of permissions I will use roles dot data dot map, and instead of this permission I will select all permission at once and just write role. Okay, and delete role, we need to define this one, and here just select all the permission and just use roles. Okay, roles, and this edit one will also be a type of link, so just remove this on click from here, and let's cut this button. First we will use link component from the React Inertia React, and then in link I will use href, and in href I will pass roles, and then here I will use role.id and then edit. Okay, some errors are still showing here. Okay, delete role. So we will also define this delete role at the top, so just come here and use function delete role id, which is a type of number, and then here I will use if confirm are you sure want to delete this role. Now if this sorry, if confirm, then here I will use a router from the inertia react dot delete method, and here I will use this one, roles, and then id. Okay, so the index method is completed. Now next we need to work on the routes and then controller, role controller. So first we'll go to the routes, and here we'll define route get roles, and here I will use role controller class index method, name will be roles index. Now again route post same name roles, role controller class here we will use store method, name will be store dot roles dot store. Here also we will use route get role slash create role controller class, then create method, then name roles dot create. Okay, similarly I will also use a route okay, let me work on these routes first. So first what I will do is I will go to index let's close this type, open role controller.php file, and here in index what I will do is in index I will use return inertia render roles dot slash index, and in data I will pass roles, and here we will use role model. Make sure to import this class like this, role with permission with permissions, and then paginate 5, and then here I will use through method, and then function role, and then we will use return, and then id. So first role id, name will be role name, then created underscore add will be role created add format dmy date month and year, so we can write like this also. And last one is permissions, so we'll use role permissions, and we will get only the name, so pluck name, that's it. Okay, so let me make you explain let me explain this. So what I have done here is I am querying the roles with the permission this permission is already relationship with these roles. That's why here I have used permissions, and I am using pagination. So here I'll use 5, and then this through method is a pagination method, comes with the pagination method. So through function role, and then here I'm using this because of this permission and created at, because I'm formatting the date created at timestamp and only getting the permission name. That's why here I have used through. Okay, now if we save this and go to the browser and go to roles, then here you can see there is no result found because there is no roles created at this time. Okay, so first we will work on create a new role. Okay, so to create new role we need to create a new file, a new view file. Okay, so when we click on this add new, then we'll go to the new page. Okay, so for this let's go to here, and inside these roles I will create a new file, create.tsx. okay, create.tsx, and then go to index.tsx files, copy all the codes here and go to create.tsx, paste. Now here I will change. So first I will go to roles, create roles. Okay, so here I'll write create roles, create role, and roles create. Okay, similarly here I'll write create roles, and here I will remove all the parameter for now. I will also remove this one. I also remove use effect, delete, just use create role. Okay, and we do not use, actually here we will use, instead of role management we will write create role, and instead of add new here we will write go back, and instead of roles create I will just use create roles. Okay, and we will not use table here, so just remove all the table content from here, and also this pagination from here. Here we will write h1 create roles. Okay, and now if we go here, let me show you. So if we click on add new, just reload and click on add new, then we are not redirecting to the create roles. So let me go to web.php file and roles create. Okay, so we need to define this method, create method, inside the role controller. So this is already declared here. Now here what I will do is I will just return inertia render roles create. Okay, now if you save this and go to the browser, reload and click on add new, so we are now going to create a role page, this heading. Okay, so here we will design the form, but before designing the form we will also send all the permissions, because when we create a role we need to select the permissions. Okay, so here we will send all the permissions. So just write permissions, and then I will use permission model all, and then I will use pluck, and then I will use here name. That's it. Now go to create.tsx files, and here what I will do is I will just use permissions, and here I will define the type. So permissions is a type of a string which is an array. So just define like this, and then first I will design the form. So inside this card content I will just remove this one, and here I will use a form, remove this action. Inside this form I will create a div with a class name of margin bottom 4. Inside this div I will use label component, and for label component here I will write name role name, and here I will use for HTML4 name, and just below I will use input component, and in input component I will use ID, which will be name, type will be text, and value will be data dot name, and on change e set data name e dot target dot value. Okay, and we will also use area valid errors dot name. Actually we need to define these data set data, so let me first come here and const data set data errors, and also post errors processing from use form hook from the inertia react, and we will define the fields here, like name will be initial value will be empty, and the permissions, so permissions will be a type of array as string, so just use string array. Okay, and next we'll display the input error validation error. So input error message in message just write errors dot name. Okay, now next what I will do is I will just below this div I will display all the permissions to select. Okay, so here I will use label, and here I will write select permissions, and then I will use div with class name of my4 top and bottom margin 4. Now inside this I will use another div with the class name of grid calls 1 gap 4 and I will use sm grid calls 2 and md grid calls 3 and lg grid calls 5. Okay, and inside this I will use permissions dot map, here single permission. Now here I will use a div with key is equal to permission and class name of flex item center and gap 3. Okay, now just inside this div I will create a checkbox. So I will use check box from the UI component UI checkbox, and inside this I will pass some props like id is equal to permission, and here I will also use on check changed. Now here we will checked, and then if checked, then set data permissions, and then here we'll get the previous permission. So using data dot permissions and then permissions. Okay, now in case of uncheck we'll use else, and then we'll use set data, and here we will use permissions, and then here we will use data dot permissions dot filter p, and then p is not is equal to permissions. Okay, now next I will design a button. So for this what I will do is before designing the button I will use label to display the text of the permission name. Okay, so here I will use label, and then I will use permission, and inside this I will use HTML for permissions. Actually not this one, dynamic one. Okay, so all set div close div, and now inside this I will create the button. So here I will write class name flex justify end, and here I will design button, and I'll use create, and here I'll write size is equal to LG, and type is equal to submit, and disabled is equal to process. Okay, and also think all done. Save this, go to the browser. Now here you can see the role field and all the permission which is created here. Okay, so all the permission is fetched here in roles, create roles, and showing here. So we will create roles like editor, super admin, or anything, and we will select all the permissions for super admin, and for a specific permission if we create like editor, manager, admin. Okay, but before let me also go to this form and in form I will write on submit event and just write submit. Now we need to define this method here, so just write function submit e react dot form event and then html form element e dot prevent default and then post to roles. Okay, so we will send the data to this route with the post method. So let's go to web.php. So here you can see this is the post method already created, and we will send it to the store method. Okay, so in store method, what I will do is I will go to the role controller.php file, and this is the store method. So here first I will validate all the fields. So request validate, and then first I will validate the name. Okay, so name is required, and it will be a type of a string. Max will be 255. Unique will in roles with the name column. So this is for name, and for permissions it should be in array, so just write array. And for single permissions we can validate like permissions dot asterisk for the single permission. So single permission should be in a string format, and it should exist in the permission table. So just write permissions table and the name column. Okay, and then here I will use role is equal to a role model create name is equal to request name. Okay, just write request name, and then I will check if request has permissions. If request has any permissions, then we will sync, use role sync permissions, and here we will use request and then permissions. Okay, save this. Now next we will use return to route roles.index with message role created successfully. Save this, and now let's come here, reload, and let's write super admin. Now select all the check box which is permissions and click on create. So you can see the permission has been created. Okay, now here you can see the permissions is not visible here. So let me first fix. So go to index.tsx file, and here you can see after the name we need another table cell, and here we will display the permissions. So to display the permissions, what I will do is I will use roles dot permissions roles dot permissions roles dot permissions, and I will use map, and here I will use permission shorthand and index. Now here what I will do is I will use badge, badge from component UI, and then here we will display the permission. So just write permission, and I will give some variant outline, and key will be index. Save this and go to the browser. Okay, go to roles. Okay, something is wrong. Let me go here, and this role. Okay, so we need to get from the role dot permission, not roles. Okay, now here you can see these are all the permissions. Okay, so let me give some bootstrap class tailwind css class to this table cell. Class name flex wrap gap 2. Okay, now reload. Okay, okay, so it will be wrapped if there will be more. Let me create one more, like view any roles. Okay, now let's create one more. Sorry, view role. Create roles. Update roles. Delete roles. Okay, now go to roles and click on add new. So you can see more permissions are visible here. Okay, so right now if I click on go back, then this is showing not found. Let me check. Create, go to create, and this is the patch rep. So just give like this, reload, and click on go back. So now we will work on edit roles. Okay, so for this what we will do is, let me go to add new, and if we click on create, then this field is validating properly. Okay, so now next we will work on edit roles. Okay, okay, so for edit, let me go here in roles directory. Let's create a new file, edit.tsx file. Okay, now let's go to create .tsx files and copy all the code and go to edit.tsx file and paste. I will keep all the same and only change here, like create. Instead of create, I will write edit roles, and here I will just keep roles, edit role. Okay, and here I will change something. Okay, so before going to do anything here in the edit.tsx files, let's first go to web.php file and let's create route get roles and here role actually roles, yes, and then edit role controller class edit name roles dot edit. Okay, now if you go to index.tsx files, then here you can see this is the edit button. Okay, and here I am redirecting to this route roles, then role id, then edit. So according to this I have created this route. Okay, now we need to define this edit method inside this role controller. So just come here and go to edit. Here I will just use return inertia render roles edit, and then here I'll pass some data like role, so the current role. Okay, so instead of this string id I will use role and role and just send the role, also load the permissions. So it will load all the permissions related to the current role by using load permissions. Okay, and then we will also send all the permissions here like permission model all, then plug name. Okay, now let's go to the edit. So just go to edit.tsx. So we are sending two array. So just send also write role here. So this is for the permission, and for the role here why I will write role, and then we need to define a new type which consists both role and permission. Okay, so let's go to the role underscore permission, and here I will define export interface role permission. Now this will consist id which will be type of number, name will be string, and permissions. So this time permission will be single permission which is type of array, and then created underscore add which is a type of string. Okay, now let's close this file. Now we will use a role permission from this. Now next what I will do is I will use here, instead of empty we will use a role dot name, and first here what I will do is I will define a const permission list is equal to role dot permissions dot map and then map permission dot name. So this will map all the permissions, and then here I will use permission list instead of empty array. Now instead of post here I will use put. Okay, and instead of create here I will write edit role. Okay, and instead of submit here actually let it be submit here, just change this post to put, and let's remove this one, use backticks roles, then the id. So here I will use role.id. okay, now next, edit role is fine. Create, instead of create role, just use edit role. Go back is fine here. Now just need to change here, we need to check the permissions in the edit page, which is already checked. So data dot permissions dot includes dot permissions, sorry, permission. That's it, I think. Save this. I think no need to change anything, just use update here. Now let's go to the browser and click on edit. So we are going to the edit page. If I click on go back, then we are going to the roles management page. If I click on edit, then edit. Okay, so now all the previous checks are checked and the name of the role. Okay, let's create another role, which is a type of subscriber, view dashboard, and view any permission, view any roles. Okay, only I have given permission of view, and click on create. So you can see this is the subscriber and this is the super admin. So we will update the super admin by selecting all the permissions. So this will not work right now because we have not defined the update method. So before defining update method, just go to web.php file, and here I will define a route put roles, and then here just write role, and then role controller class update, and then the name of the name of this route will be roles dot update. Okay, now go to the role controller and define this update method. So to define this update method, what I will do is I will go to role controller. Now to update here, what I will do is I will first validate the fields. So I will copy all the things here and paste it here. Now instead of here, I will just make one edit, that is role id, accept role id. Okay, and here instead of a string, I will write role and role. Okay, route model binding, and I think all correct. Now just use role name. Role name is equal to request name, name, and role save. So if there is any change in the role name, then we will first save the name, and then we will also check if a request has permissions, then we will use role sync permissions and then request permissions. Okay, now next we will just use return to route roles index with message role updated successfully. Save this. Now go to the browser. Now reload. Just edit the super admin one. Select all the permission. and click on update. Okay, so we are getting not found because let me check. Go to edit. So here we have put roles ID, and if we go to web dot role date, okay, everything is fine. Now what's the issue? Okay, just reload and let me do it one more times. Let me open the console. Okay, failed to load resources. Okay, so update. Let's go to edit, and this is submit method, and this is submit method, and put. Okay, in web.php I have used puts roles role. Okay, so here we have to write roles. Now reload, select all the roles and click on update. So you can see roles updated successfully, and for the super admin all the roles are now selected. Okay, so now only thing is remaining in the role module is delete role. Okay, so let's quickly work on this also. So let's go to the index.tsx files, and here this delete role is already defined here. Okay, we only need to go to web.php file, and here we need to define the route. So role delete roles role role controller class destroy, and name will be roles destroy. Okay, now just go to role controller and define this method. So instead of string id here I will use route model binding role and just use role delete. Okay, and then use return to route roles index, and then with message role deleted successfully. Okay, save this, go to the browser and reload. Let's create a dummy role. Editor, select this permission, this permission, this permission, this one. Okay, if I click on create, then you can see a new permission role has been created with these permissions. Okay, now if I click on edit, then you can see all the correct permissions are selected. Let's go back. Actually, let me go back to index.tsx, and here flex items center. Okay, let me click on delete. Then it is asking, are you sure want to delete this role? So if I click cancel, then the pop-up will disappear. Now if I click on OK, then this editor role is deleted successfully with a toast. Okay, so this role management is also completed with all the CRUD functionality. Now we will work on users module. Okay, now to start for the users management CRUD functionality, what we will do first is go to the project, and let me do a commit. Okay, git commit. So first I will write git add all, then git commit am roles CRUD, or we can write a role module completed. Okay, and then I will clear the terminal. I will close all the files. Now first what I will do is I will go to resources JS. Okay, and then I will open these pages, then I will create a new folder users. Okay, now here I will create one file, that is index.tsx. okay, index.tsx, and let me go to roles and open the index.tsx. Select all the codes from this file and paste inside the users index.tsx file. Okay, now here I will make changes like users, just change this roles to users, and I will also make users here users, and for these users we need to also define the type. Okay, so let me go to the types. Let me create a new file, user.d.ts. okay, and here what I will do is I will export interface single user. Now single user consists of ID, which is a type of number, name, which is a type of a string, email, which is also a type of string, roles, which will be a type of a string of array, and created underscore add, which is also a type of string. Okay, now I will also use export interface user extend pagination and import pagination type from the pagination. Okay, so now inside this what I will do is we will use data, then single user, which will be a type of array. Okay, and then we will also define one more interface which will consist of user and also role. Okay, so for this we will use export interface user and role, which will extend single user. Okay, and here I will use roles dot single role. Okay, and this will be imported from this role underscore permissions. Okay, single role is defined inside this file. Okay, so all done. Now let's close this file, and here I will use user from this file, this @ underscore slash types slash users. Okay, so just import from this file, and next I will keep the same. I will also keep this same, just change this to users and change this to user. Okay, and also change this title to users, and change this roles to user management, and here just write users slash create, and now table will be almost same, just need to do some little modification like name, and there will be a email field also, email column also. And then instead of permission, here I will display the roles, okay, and created it and action. Now here I will use users dot data dot map. Then I will select all the roles, control D to select all the roles. Actually, let me select this and this and this and this one, okay. Just write user, okay. So index one, which is ID, name, and then email. So just write email, and this will be user slash roles, and here I will write role index badge outline index, and here I'll write a role, okay. And user created at. Now here also user dot id and edit, which is fine, and delete. Let me make this u capital, and user id here, which is fine. Now here just write users data dot length, and let's change this roles to users. I think all done. Let me define this method here, okay. So all done here. Let me, okay, so let me go to web.php file, and just below I will define all users routes, okay. But before defining, let me create a new controller file. So php artisan make controller user controller, and this will be a resource type, so just use r flag. Now open user controller, and in web.php file I will define all the routes like this, which is defined here, okay. So I'll copy all the routes of these roles and paste here, okay. Now instead of roles, I will select all the roles, and I will just write users, okay. And instead of this role, here I will write user, and here also I will write user, okay. And then I will change this role controller to user controller, and make sure to import this class here like this, okay. So all done here. Now let's go to index.tsx file, and actually let me go to user.controller.php file. Now here in index method, what I will do is, before rendering to the inertia request, I will first fetch all the user model, and then I will use query, then I will use latest, then I will use paginate 5, and then with query string, then through, and here we will use function user, and here I will return id. So just write user id, name, user name, email user email created underscore add is equal to user created underscore add format dmy and then roles. So for roles I will use user roles pluck name. Okay, and then I will use return inertia render users slash index, and then here I will pass users. Okay, now save this, go to the browser, and here we first need to uh, create a user uh, link in the sidebar. So for this what we will do is just go to components and then open app underscore hyphen sidebar, and let me duplicate this and just use users and just use users lucid react from import from lucid react, and just come here. Now if we just open the users, then here you can see there is only one user, which is super admin, and there is no role associated with this. So we will see in later when we work on add new user or edit user. Okay, so for now let's work on add new user. Okay, so for add new user, let me go here. Now here what I will do is I will just go to resources js pages users, and here I will create a new file, that is create.tsx, and I will go to roles and I will select all the codes of role create.tsx files, and I will paste inside the user create.tsx files. Okay, now here I will change something like create, instead of create roles, here I'll write user, and here I'll write users, and here create users create users, and now this create users will take one props, that is roles, and here just use roles, and this will be a type of a string, so just use string. Let just use same, but here instead of name I will also use email empty, password which will be empty, and roles array as empty array, and then I will use post. Now instead of roles I will use here users. Now instead of create role I will write create user, and create, instead of create role here also write create user, and go back, which is fine, just write users here. Now the main thing, we have to design the form. Okay, so in card component, inside card component and inside form tag, first we will change this label to just name. Okay, name text, and yeah, and in value I will write data.name, and this is also fine. This is fine. This is also fine. Now I will duplicate this same thing just below here, and this time I will use type text, and ID will be, sorry, type will be email, ID will be email, name will be also, sorry, label HTML4 will be also email, and just write email here also, email, sorry, and email, email. Let's duplicate one more time. This time I will set password, so just write password, 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 and here also password. Okay, and here in select permission we can write select roles, and here instead of permissions I will write roles dot map, and here I'll write a role. Now just select all permissions, and just write a role. Okay, so here a role is fine, ID is role, which is also fine. This is checked roles, data roles, role, which is also fine, role, data roles, filter. Okay, all fine. Now we just have to define the store method in the user controller. Okay, so for this let's go to the controller of a store method. Just come here, and but before, let me just go to create method, and here just use return inertia render users create, and we will send roles from here, all roles which is created. Okay, so just use this model, import this model, all plug name. Okay, and in a store method I will write request validate, and name will be, sorry, required, name will be required, pipe symbol, string, max 255. Now email, which will be also required, pipe symbol, email, pipe symbol, unique users email. Okay, now password, required string minimum 8, and then roles, this should be in array, and for individual roles it should be roles for individual roles it should be a string, and then exists exist in roles table name column. Okay, now next we will create a variable user, then user model, then use create, then here just use name, get name from the request, name, email, request, email, and password. So password should be encrypted, okay, encrypted. So I will use BCRYPT. Use bcrypt method, and then here just use request password, okay, and then here we'll check if request has roles. Then in this case we will use user sync roles, and here we will use request roles, okay, and then here we will use return to route users index with message user created successfully. Now let's test this, okay, so just go to the browser and click on add new. So you can see there are two roles here, super admin and subscriber. And if you go to users, add new users, then all the fields are here, name, email, password, and there are two roles showing. If I click on create, then it is validating all the fields, okay. Now let me use admin. Okay, something is wrong. Okay, let me go to create.tsx and check all the, okay, so all the values are name, like name, this should be name, this should be email, so just write email, and this should be password. Okay, now let's again go to the browser, reload. Okay, now if I click on create, field validating properly. Now let me write admin, email admin @ example.com, password, and let me select subscriber for now, okay, or we can also create a new role for this. So for now let me write subscriber 2 and subscriber 2 and select the subscriber. Let's click on create, okay, so you can see this subscriber is created, subscriber user is created, and only one role is associated with this user, okay. Now let's quickly work on edit, okay, then we will show you how to authorize in server side and in the front end, okay. So let me just come here, and in users let me create a new file, edit.tsx file. Let me go to create, copy all the codes, go to edit, paste. Here I will change something like okay, so here what I will change is just write edit users, just write users, and instead of create user just write edit user, and here I will fetch the roles, and also user, okay, so just write user, Now roles is a type of a string array and user will be a type of user role both. Okay, so just import it from here, and in here I will use put instead of post, and I will use user.name, user.email. I will not update the password again, and in role I will just create a const role list is equal to user dot roles dot map role and role dot name. Okay, so by this way we will only get the names from the roles. Okay, so here I will write a role list. Okay, and this will be a array, so just use this one also. Now here instead of post use put. Okay, and just change this to backtick slash user slash and then user dot id. Okay, and just change this to edit user and also edit user. Go back is fine. Now all will be same. Just remove this password field, we do not require this one. Now here we need to just write checked, and in checked I will write data roles dot includes and a role. Okay, okay, I think all done. Let me just write update here, update. So our route is already defined here for the update method. Okay, and our view file is also ready. Now let me go to edit user controller, and in edit I will just need to define this edit. So here what I will do is I will use a return inertia render users edit, and from here we will send user. So here instead of string id I will use user model and user object, and here just use user and load all the roles. So I will use the load roles, and then I will also send all the roles role role model all pluck name. Okay, now let's also define this update method. So in update method I will copy the same thing from here and paste here. Now here what I will do is unique email and user id, just use user. Okay, and I think all will be same. Just update the user update name which will come from request name and email. request email, and we'll check if request request has roles. Then in this case we will user sync roles request roles. Okay, and then finally we will use return to route users index, then with message user updated successfully. Let's also define this method, which is destroy user. Okay, so here instead of string id I will use user, and here just write user delete, and let me copy the same thing, paste here. Instead of updated just write deleted, save. Now go to index.tsx. Okay, and here this delete user method is already created. Okay, so let's test update and delete functionality. So let's go to the browser and reload. Now open this super admin and assign a role here and click on update. Okay, so I think this is working. Super admin. Okay, let me check. Go to edit, and this is the submit. Okay, data name, data email, put user id, users. Let me go to web.php file, users, user, put request update, which is fine. Now what's the issue? Update sync roles. Okay, let me go back, reload. Let me give both the, let me select both the roles and click on update. Okay, so what's happening? It's not sending the request. Let me open the console. Okay, just date. It's not sending the request. Submit e.prevent default user controller update. Let me just dd and request all. Okay, so we are sending the data, which is fine. Now what's the issue? User. Okay, actually this is happening because we are not sending the password, and here we are validating the password, which is not correct. So just remove the password and I think all will work fine. Let me go back and go to the edit of super admin, select super admin, click on update. So you can see super admin is selected for this user. Okay, now let's go to this user subscriber. Just remove this one, subscriber is already selected, click on update. So you can see this is working. Now let me go to roles. Let me create one more role. manager. Now manager can view dashboard and view any permission and view any roles, and also can view permission, create permission, update permission, delete permission. Okay, that's it. Click on create. So manager is already also created. Now let's create a user which consists two roles. So if I click here, then subscriber and manager. So I will write name subscriber manager, subscriber and manager, password, and let's subscriber and manager. Okay, click on create. So this user have two roles, subscriber and managers. So this is also working fine. Now let me check that delete is working or not. So if I click on delete, then this pop-up is showing. If I click on cancel, then the pop-up is now hidden. Now if I click on OK, then the user is now deleted. Okay, so this is the super admin and this is the subscriber. Let me go to permission and also create permission for wait a minute, let me reload. So here what I will do is I will okay, what's the issue? Actually I'm not able to type here. Let me open the console here, go to console. Okay, so now let's write view any users. Click on create. Now view user. Now create users. Now update users. Now delete user. So all the permissions are created. Now let's go to roles and open the super admin. For super admin, I will select all the roles, all the permissions, because super admin should have access to all the modules. Okay, and for subscriber, I am only keeping view dashboard, view permission, view dashboard, view any permission, view any roles, but I'm not giving the permission of view any user. Okay, so this is fine. So all done. Now we need to work on the authorization part. Okay, for the authorization, what we will do is, let me come back to the project. Let me first close all the files and let me make a git commit here, git add, git commit user module completed, clear. Now to work on the authorization part, first what we need is just go to app directory, then open this http middleware and click open this handle inertia request.php file. Now here inside this auth what I will do is I will send all the permissions of the logged in user to view files. So for this, here I will write permissions, and here I will use request user. If user is logged in, then I will use request user get all permissions, and here I will use plug name. And if there is no permissions for the user, then we will send the empty array. Okay, so if we just go to the browser and let me open the network tab. So currently I have logged in with the super admin role. Okay, now let me go to the network tab and let me reload. Okay, so if I go to users, then here you can see there is one request made, and if you go to the response, then in response you can see in auth we have users with the roles, but here you can see this is the permissions of the users which is associated with the user. Okay, so we will use these permissions to check and hide in the view files, like these buttons edit, edit, delete, and these links. Okay, so how to do this? Let me go here and let me go to resources JS and hooks. So here I will create one more hooks. So here I will use hyphen permissions dot ts. Okay, and here I will use export function use permission, and then inside this I will use const props. So we'll get all the props. Okay, from the use page, and here we need to define its types. Okay, so first I will define its type. So here I will write type of props is equal to auth, and inside this I will write permissions is a type of string which is a type of array. Okay, and here in angle bracket we need to pass auth props. Okay, now next I will write const permission. So I will get all the permissions from the auth. So here I will write props dot auth dot permissions. If there are some permission, then it is okay, otherwise we will assign with the empty array. Okay, and then I will use const. I will create a function can is equal to permission is a type of string, so just write string here, and then boolean, it returns boolean, and then we'll check permissions dot include permission. So if all permissions include the given permission, then it will return true, otherwise false. So here we will use just return can. Okay, save this file. Now we will use this hook in all the files. So close this one, and let me first go to the browser and log in with this subscriber. Okay, sorry, let me go to the users and log in with this subscriber user, then you will see the changes. So let me log out and go to login, paste and write password. So right now there is no checks written in the frontend files. Now according to this user has role subscriber, and if we go to roles, then this subscriber has three uh, only three permission given, which is view dashboard, view any permission, view any roles. Okay, so now let's go to here. Now first I will go to JS, then components, then I will go to this app hyphen sidebar, and this is our main nav items. So here I will also use permission view dashboard permission. Okay, now it is showing some warning that this nav item have no permission property added, so we need to fix this nav item. So just go to nav items and just go to this nav item, and here just use permission string, save. Now the warning has gone. Now similarly we need to use permission here and view any permissions. Now we need to write the permission name. So according to this, we will restrict the link to view in the sidebar. Permission view any roles, and here just write permission view any users. Okay, now let's scroll below. So here you can see these main nav items are used inside this nav main component. So open this component. Now here you can see this is the sidebar menu item. So here what I will do is I will just cut all these codes. Okay, and here I will use can. Before using can method, first we will write here can, and we'll use permission hook, which we already defined. Okay, now we can use the can method to, let me show you how to do this. So here I will use can, and here I will write item dot permission. Okay, and ampersand, paste, save this, go to the browser. Now here you can see the users link is now not showing here in the sidebar because subscriber has no permission to view the users. That's why the users is now hidden. Now if I go to edit and if I check this view any users and update, then you can see users menu is now showing here. Okay, so let me just, okay, let it be. Now we will also work on all the files to restrict from the front end. So let's close this one, and now let's go to resources JS pages. So first I will work in the permission. So this is the index file. So first what I will do is I will first here I will use const can and then use permission. Just import the permission where is it? Okay, so this is imported here. Now we can use can method to restrict. So this button is to add new this button is for adding new permissions. So here I will use can method, and here I will write create permissions, create permission, and I will paste the button here. Similarly, this is the edit button, so I will cut the edit button. I will use can, and here I will write update permissions, update permission ampersand, and then render the button. Similarly, I will cut this delete button and do the same thing, can delete permissions ampersand and paste. So create, delete, and update is already restricted here. Now let's go to the browser and go to the permission. Now here you can see the action edit and delete is not showing, because for this subscriber role there is no edit and there is no update and create. Also, if we go to permission, then we can see the create button is also not visible here because there is no permission given. Let me go to subscriber and let me tick on update permission, update create permission, and let's leave the delete permission for now and click on update. Now go to permission. This time you can see we have add new button and edit. Okay, because we have given permission to make update to any permission and add new permission. And if we go again into subscriber and remove create, update, and click on update, then go to permissions, then reload, then you can see we again have no edit and delete button here in the action column, and also add new button is gone. Okay, so this is working fine. So similarly we have to do for all the files. So this is completed, so close. Now go to roles and go to index. Okay, so in index we only just need to do the things in index file. Okay, so here just use const can use permission, use permission. Now this is the create new role button. Okay, so just cut this link, and here just use can create roles. If this permission is given or assigned to any user, then this button will be visible. Okay, similarly we will also do for this link, edit link. So here we will use can update roles and paste. Similarly we will do for the delete button. So just use can delete roles ampersand, then paste the. Okay, and let me show you. So if you go to roles, then you can see this user have no permission to create the roles, to edit and delete the roles. That's why all the buttons are now hidden. Okay, similarly we will do for the user. So let me go to users and then index, and here also just use const can use permission, and then this is to create user. So here I will use can create users if create user permission assigned to user, then this button will be visible, otherwise not. Similarly, this link, so just cut can update users, and for this delete, just cut can delete users, okay. So all the front end checks are completed. Now if we go to users, then here also users, these users cannot create a new user and also cannot modify or delete the existing user, because this user have no permission to do this, okay. Now similarly, this user, super admin user, have all the access, okay. If you go to roles, then you can see all the access are given to this super admin role, and this user have the super admin role, okay. So let me log out and log in with the super admin credential, superadmin@example.com, password, login. So you can see super admin can create, can modify, delete all the permissions. And in roles also, super admin can create a role, modify role, delete role. And in also user, super admin can create, add, create, modify and delete any user, because super admin have all the access. Now let's quickly go to login with subscriber password, okay. So all working fine. Now let me show you. So if this subscriber which have no permission to create a new role, that's why the button is not visible here. But if this user go to the URLs and here just write create in the URL, then it can access the create role page. So this checks is only to hide and show the elements based on the permissions in the front end. But what for the backend? So for backend, we have to go to the route file, web.php file, and here we have to check all the permissions, okay. So let me go one by one. So for this, here I will use can method. We can use can method, and here we can write view any permissions. So if we need to write or give permissions here like this, and for store we can use can create permissions, and for update we can use can update permissions, and for delete we can use can delete permissions, okay. Similarly we need to do for also for roles. Here we can use can view any roles. For create we can write create roles, can create roles, and here also just use can update roles, and here also just use can update roles, and here also just use can delete roles, okay. Now in users also just use can view any users. For create and store use same can create users. Now for edit and update, use same can update users, and for destroy use same delete users. So from the backend also we have used can middleware and assigned all the proper permissions. So now if we go to here, now suppose this subscriber have no permission to create a new roles. As you can see also the button is hidden, but he tries to access roles create from the link URL section, then it will be redirected to this page. This action is unauthorized. Okay, so this is also working fine. So that's it. You just learned how to build a full user roles and permission system using Laravel 12 and Inertia React. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to DCodeMania, and drop a comment if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.